Welcome to your favorite Tennessee Titans podcast, Tennessee Titans Weekly. Jacques. Jacques. What's up, folks? What is going on? What is happening today? Hello to you all from Bleacher Report. If you watch this on YouTube as well, man, hey, what's up with you all as well, too? So shout out to everybody that's out here listening to us, Jacques. Hey, man, we got a lot to talk about, bro. How's your day going, sir?
Man, it's going good, bro. And you're right. We do have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Free agency so far.
Yeah, for sure. So if you have not followed us on Bleacher Report, man, please do that as well, too, man. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us out there, man. We're here. So let's get to it, man. Let's get the pot stirring here about the Titans, man, with the free agency stuff going on, man. As you know, again, we've added, many players in the free agency with Calvin Ridley, 4 years, $92 million. We got Mason Rudolph, the backup quarterback. We got Tony Pollard, the running back. Lloyd Cushenberry, the offensive center, at 4 years, $50 million. Kenneth Murray, the linebacker from the Chargers. Chidobe Awuzie from the Bengals. Sadiq Charles. We re-signed Nick Folk and Morgan Cox. Hey, we have a lot, man. So right now, from the players that I just stated, of course, we lost players as well, with Derrick Henry, Al Shahir, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Danico Autry, and Aaron Brewer. What would you grade right now the Titans as far as free agency as of today? What would you grade them right now and why?
A grade, okay. From what we've been able to do, I would give the Titans right now with free agency an A, actually. Well, let me take it back. I'm gonna give them an A- because we still got some things that need to be filled. But the actual holes that we've been able to fill and the splashes that we've been able to make are amazing, right? And I think a lot of Titans fans are not used to this particular splash early in free agency and how fast it happened. I think Tony Pollard was our first signing, and then the center after that, and then after that, you got Akuzie, the DB. Like, it was just coming in like that, and you're like, hold on. Usually we don't make a splash to like maybe day two. You might have a day one, a particular day one pick that we get, but day one to come in crashing like that, it was amazing. So just to see what we've had picked up, and you've gotten these players, and to me, they're upgrades to what we've already have, either upgrades or they match, right? I'll use Murray, for example. He matches Al Shahir. Similar running backs stats. I looked at the stat line, similar stats. I know Al had more tackles, but I know Murray had a couple of sacks as well. So different skill set. I mean, the different, almost similar skill set, but different player, right? And then we don't even know what scheme we're running. That's another thing too. So a lot of these players are coming in and telling me, okay, we might be running this scheme versus this scheme. And I'm not going to even get on the Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley pickup was the biggest splash of yesterday. Like, that was the focal point. We picked up Mason Rudolph, and he overshadowed that particular pick. It was almost like, hey, we got Mason Rudolph, and then we got Calvin Ridley, right? So an A- for the effort that we've been able to put in, to the money that we're signing them for. The 3 to 4 year deals are amazing, and it's how it's spread out. It makes sense as well. And then 3, the names that we're getting. These are former number 1 picks, right? These are guys that have started on these teams and pretty solid. So that's for me. What about you, Hawk?
Facts, no paper. As far as the Titans right now, as far as what I would grade them, Jacques, I think you and I are looking at the same paperwork on the grade sheet, man. I'm giving them an A- as well, man. You know, the Titans have a lot of holes that need to be filled. And, right now we're not really sure based on the draft picks. We have 7 picks. So that's not a whole lot of picks to fill up all the holes that we need. So now with you adding Calvin Ridley, who's a bona fide number 1 receiver, who bet on himself. I know some people might think he got overpaid, but that's the market. That's the market we're in right now. And he got paid based on that. So bringing in Calvin Ridley, bringing in Cushenberry at center. Not only was he a great center for Denver, he was their leader. And we need that. We have a young offensive line group. They're going to follow Cushenberry. And I think for what he signed, 4 years, $50 million is a pretty good contract. You look at those guys, man, on offense, I think those are really solid. Not to mention with Tony Pollard. Now you have him and Tajay Spears. You have a different dynamic of an offense now. You have 2 guys that have speed, that can catch the football and those things. And with Calvin Ridley, now I look to our offense to be more of a spread offense. So you look at these folks, man, I think that really changes the dynamic of our offense. If you look at Kenneth Murray, Murray plays very similar to Al Shahir, a freewheeling linebacker that's going to make a lot of plays out there. I think in the scheme and Chargers, with the Chargers didn't work well, it'll work well from him here. So I think, man, with a Wuze at corner and those guys, man, I think we got some more to fill based on the salary that we have. But for right now, Rand Carthon, Cook ran. I think so far he's done well, man. So, and we got that in the poll as well too, man. We got folks that say A and B. So we have a lot of folks that are saying the same thing. That feel that we did a really good job overall as far as that is concerned. Shout out to the Titans.
Yep, shout out to them, man. Keep doing what you're doing. So let's move on to the next topic. So Calvin Ridley, which again, this was one of the biggest splashes that we were able to pick up in free agency. Literally got a 4-year, $92 million deal. I think $50 million guaranteed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hawk.
Yep.
Do you feel like that was too much? I know there's some Titans fans that are saying that's too much, and they don't agree with the deal and everything like that. What's your thoughts on that?
I think, man, you got to look at it like this. In free agency, you're going to spend money. That's what it's about, right? You're going to have certain players that, when you look at it like, golly, he's making a lot of money. I mean, you look at Baker Mayfield, you look at Kirk Cousins. But you know why they're getting paid? Because that's the market. That's the market. So right now, when you look at free agent receivers, there are not a lot of receivers out there in the free agent market. There isn't. And not prime receivers. And that's a need for us. We need a receiver. You know, when you look at it right now, outside of D-Hop, you got Nick Westbrook-Akina and Traylon Burks as wide receiver too. That is a need. So looking at what Calvin Ridley is making overall as far as $50 million guaranteed, that's the money right there. It's $50 million. That's the investment. So for 2 years, that's what $25 million a year. So I actually think, man, I think he's not overpaid. I think looking at the market, man, that's a big dollar amount. Don't get me wrong. But looking at the need, looking at the fact that we have the money, hey, I'm fine with spending money. That's what it's about. You look at teams that do well in the league, that go to the playoffs and things, they spend money. That's just what it is, right? You spend money on prime players. It's up for Calvin Ridley to do well. It's really on those first 2 years. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the 4. I'm looking at the 2. Now, he gets beyond that. Then you look at his salary. His salary, it kind of goes down based on the market. People compare that to the A.J. Brown, but this is not the same GM nor the same coach. It's a whole different game here. So I think he got paid good. I'm not going to say great. I'm going to say good for where he is, man. So that's for me. What about for you, Jacques?
Again, we're thinking on the same wavelength. Like, I think if we're looking at the market now, he's maybe the 10th highest paid receiver or 11th or whatnot. He's not even the highest paid. I know Justin Jefferson is asking for what, $40 million a year.
Thanks.
Come on now. So for what we got him for, again, like you said, man, that's the winning formula. You got a young quarterback who you need to surround him around weapons. We already got one weapon in D-Hop. Traylon is questionable, right? You need to add another outside receiver. So you almost got a 1A, 1B type style receiver. You got 2 number 1 receivers that can go on other teams and be that legit number 1 receiver. So for the contract, it's friendly. It's friendly contract. And like you said, on the latter part of it, you can get out of it if you want to, right? You still need to get younger. You do, if that makes sense. But from what he was able to produce last year with his stats, and he was just coming back to football, just getting back in the groove of things. Yeah, and I know a lot of people say, well, he's 30. Okay, that's fine. But he was off a whole year, a year and a half from football, and his body still has a lot of tread on his tires. So to me, I know Titans fans are not used to this, but I believe the deal is fair. It's fair. It's reasonable. And to get it done, how they got it done, I wasn't even aware. It wasn't even on my radar, Calvin Ridley coming to the Titans. It was between the Patriots and the Jags. And you steal them from a divisional opponent. So no, if you wanna do better, you gotta spend better, right? If you want to be the top dog, you gotta spend the money, right? We don't have a Patrick Mahomes. If we had a Patrick Mahomes, you can kind of will it and did it a little bit different. But to help your young quarterback, and if you wanted to help him elevate, you gotta go out and get that talent, man. So
Yeah. Facts, no paper, man. So looking at the free agents that we have signed, right? You know, we're looking at overall, we are saying, and it looks like those in the comments, hey, y'all put your comments in the chat, man. And again, we're going to have a live chop up at the end. You ask questions, we're going to fire off some answers for you. So looking at where we are in the free agent, we're saying that Rand Carthon and the Titans have done a very good job on the free agents that we have signed. So with the added free agents that we have, has this changed our draft strategy? And we're going to put that question out there for what position should we draft. But does that change our draft strategy right now, Jacques?
In my opinion, no. No, it doesn't. And I believe, I told you, we had a show last night, as I've iterated before, I'm okay with going with either or, receiver or offensive tackle, receiver or offensive tackle. at that point, I don't care because you're just getting better, right? If you go get Joe Alt, you just got even more better on the offensive line. If you go get Malik Neighbors, you get even better in the receiving room, right? You can't never have too much talent. So no, to me, it does not change the strategy. Now, you might can get a little creative if you think Brock Bowers is worth a 7th-round pick. Is he worth it? If I'm saying he's worth a 7th-round pick, I'm saying he's Travis Kelce, I'm saying he's Gronkowski. I'm putting him up there with those guys, right? Day one starters. He's out there balling, do your thing. You got more passing talent, right? But no, it does not change my strategy at all. Now, if you really want to get creative with it, I'll still stick to my strategy if I trade down to get more picks. It ain't changing my strategy. It doesn't change who I want to pick. Either offensive line, wide receiver, offensive line. What about you, Hawk?
So for me, man, Jacques, looking at what I want in the first round, I still want an offensive tackle. Because at the end of the day, Cushenberry is a center. And you're not going to draft a center in the first round. Now, if Cushenberry was a tackle, then yes, this changes the whole narrative. But because he's a center, offensive tackle, left and right tackle there's still holes there. So it doesn't change that at all. I think that strategy should still be there based on what I'm saying we should pick. If we pick a receiver here, I'm fine with that too. And we get an O tackle in the second round, cool. The second round, I wanted us to draft a wide receiver, and I'm still going to stick to that. I think the only thing that has changed this here, Jacques, we just signed Nick Westbrook-Akina. We just signed him, which will be our 4th receiver. You got Traylon Burks coming back as well, too, as your 3rd receiver. If the Titans decided to draft a corner in the second round, because of these signings, I'd understand that. Yep. Prior to that, I'd have been like, no way, right? Receiver or tackle. I'm still going to stick to what I want, an offensive tackle and a receiver, because at the end of the day, D-Hop has 1 more year left, Traylon Burks, 1 more year left, right? Then you're left with Calvin Ridley, and that's it. We need a receiver. But if we went corner, because we need corner, I'd be okay with that. But give me tackle, give me a receiver. That's who I want as well, too, man. For sure.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yep.
So with the departure of the King, and I know how Derrick Henry means to you, and you've iterated on plenty of occasions that's your favorite player of all Titans of all time. Yeah. How do you feel about the departure of the King?
I don't have a napkin over here, man, nothing like that, because I wipe some tears that you don't see on here. But I'm really sad to see Derrick Henry go, man. Derrick Henry, the King, in my opinion, for me, the greatest Tennessee Titan ever play here. He's a Hall of Famer to be, for sure. The best running back the NFL has seen in the last 10 years. He's so good where Derrick Henry's a verb. So when someone gets stiff-armed, you're going to be like, who's he, Derrick Henry? Or he got Derrick Henry. That's rare, right? That's a rare situation to be that. Derrick Henry's number should be retired as well here, too. I'm really sad to see him go. My kids grew up watching Derrick Henry. Some of the best plays I've ever seen at Titan Stadium, even in away games, was from Derrick Henry, especially the 99-yard run. Derrick Henry was that guy. But I'm happy for him because he is trying to win a Super Bowl. And the Baltimore Ravens right now, going into 2024, has a better opportunity than us at this time. And they fit his scheme in running the football. So he knows going into Baltimore, I'm going to run the ball, and I got Lamar Jackson. We're about to run like Nebraska, right? Like Tommy Frazier and Lawrence Phillips. So I'm sad to see him go selfishly, personally, and even as a fan, of course. But I'm happy for him because I want him to win a Super Bowl. And if he feels he can do that in Baltimore, salute to you, King. You're the King. Reign the King. Hey, we're going to miss the King. Hopefully he'll retire here, man. That's how I feel. What about you, Jacques?
Again, I'm with you, but I've been preparing myself for this day since last year, and I knew it was coming. How it was going to come, I didn't know. I've always had a feeling that he was going to be a Baltimore Raven, even when they were discussing the trade, because it came out officially that they were going to trade him to the Ravens, but it got vetoed by Amy. And so after that, I said, okay, he ain't coming back here, especially with Vrabel being fired, the scheme changing. They probably had a conversation. Man, you got a better chance over there than doing it. My only wish is, man, treat him right. Treat him right. Treat him right. Let him do his thing. Don't change up anything from how his style is. If y'all are up 25, man, that's when you give the King the ball. Don't stop. Give him the ball. He has to eat. He has to go. Interchanging crap? Nah. He make him the focal back. Let him do his thing. If y'all want to go to the Super Bowl, that's just the advice that I have as a Titans fan. That's how he's able to win. So Yeah, I'm sad about it, but I've always prepared also. But I'm excited for him as well to see how he does on another team because we've seen him so much here with the Titans. Is like it's intriguing. It's like, okay, let's see how he does somewhere else, right? Let's see how they treat him somewhere else. Let's see if they value him as much as we did. And if they can do that, cool. If they don't, then to me, he's just wasted his time. He should have just stayed here. So that's my thoughts on it.
Facts, no paper, Jacques. All right. So right now, folks, we're going to go into our live chop up. We're going to give you an opportunity to ask us questions. We're going to pop up your question. The best questions are going to pop up here on the screen. We're going to answer them. We're going to fire them off, man. Ask us whatever you want about the Titans, the NFL. We are here. Let's get it, man.
Right. You see any questions, Hawk? I thought I seen some.
So let's see here. So what do you think about this, Jacques? DJ Reader, Armstead. If you had to choose between the two, shout out to Ant. What's this? Anthem 1986. What you think, Jacques?
Damn, they both good players, man. Depends on what you're trying. Because I know Reader's a run stopper. That joker can stop the run. He's pretty solid. And Armstead, man, he's good at rushing the pass. So it depends on what I'm looking for at the time, man. God, man. Give me Reader. I like Reader because I think from a run stopping perspective, we've always been good at that. But I mean, if we can finagle both, man, I definitely wouldn't mind. The way Rand is cooking, man, it wouldn't surprise me if we do bring both of them in here, man. So I say Reader. What about you?
I like Reader too. Reader was a beast, man. When we played against him twice, when he was with the Texans and also with the we just played him now.
Bengals?
Who?
He was with the Bengals too, wasn't he?
Yes, the Bengals. Yes, the Bengals. DJ Reader's a problem. He's a problem. Give me Reed because we need a nose tackle, man. We need a nose tackle. We missed T.R. Tart. We have nobody in the middle that's going to help Jeffrey Simmons, Arden Key, and Harold Landry. Bring them in, man. All right, we got some good questions. Yes, sir. What's up?
Cody C. Man says, do you think we should pick up Chase Young? How do you think we should pick up Chase Young?
The answer is, well, what's the dollar amount, right? What's on the check and how many years? If we do pick up Chase Young, I'll do a 1-year deal. I gotta see. It gotta be a prove-it deal. We gotta see what Chase Young is about, right? Mm-hmm. Chase Young was unbelievable. He had his injury that really hurt him. It really depends on that, man. I get a 1-year deal if I could do anything. What about you, Jacques?
Same. It depends on the money. I'm not gonna break the bank for him. I give him a prove-it deal, 1 year, see how he does, see if he responds to the scheme. He went to the Super Bowl last year. So how's his mindset, right? Is he willing to put in the work? I don't know. So that's for me. It's really the money. Let me see. Odite says, Odite, do you think having Pollard there will try to spread a little more? Yes. Yes. It reminds me of Tajay Sharp, an older version of Tajay Sharp. I think Tajay Sharp is a little bit, they're both elusive, but yes, he can catch out the backfield. Yes. Oh, yes. What about you, Hawk?
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at Tajay Spears and you look at Tony Pollard, Pollard's a bigger back, but Pollard can catch the football. Looking at the receivers we just added with Calvin Ridley, it looks as if with Will Levis throwing the ball deep, it looks like we're going to try to push the ball more down the field. Last 2 years, the Tennessee Titans have been one of the worst teams on offense as far as scoring the football. We're trying to change that narrative. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Good question.
Yep. Sandman 886 says, should we still try to trade for Snead from Kansas City?
Yes, we should. But here's the problem, Sandman 886. We don't have a lot of draft capital. That's the problem, right? And I don't think we have a lot of, current capital on our team to trade for Kansas City. If anything, the best we could probably do is a 2nd-round pick. And I'm not willing to give up our 2nd-round pick because we don't have a 3rd-round pick. We need as many players as we can. So unless it's next year, a trade for next year, it might be tough, Jacques. Right. How do you feel, bro?
I'm not giving up my 2nd-round pick. I give you my 3rd-round pick from next year, possibly a 5th. And if you want something this year, I ain't gonna say swap because I just won a Super Bowl, so that puts us behind, right? Maybe swap our 4th-round pick this year with them. That's about as best I go, but we need them. I will say that we need them. Yeah. We definitely need them. Let's see. What do we see? Caleb Charles. Well, if I butcher your name, I'm sorry. Should we go after T. Higgins even though we got Ridley? If not him, how about a slot guy in Boyd? So you know how I feel about this.
Go for it.
Man, go for the juggler. Why not? Why not? Why not? Try to trade for him. See what the capital is. I know the money, it'll get tricky when it comes to the money. That's the biggest thing. We can trade for him, but money-wise, if we were able to either get him or Boyd, man, this receiver core will go from one of the, not gonna say the worst receiving core, because we still had D-Hop who got 1,000 yards, but this receiver core will go from the bottom of the league to the top of the league. If we were able to bring in T Higgins, Calvin Ridley, D-Hop, Traylon Burks, nigga Keenan Westbrook, right? You got you a full horseman, man. You can do a lot with that. You can definitely do a lot with that. What's your thoughts, Hawk?
So, do we go after T. Higgins, even though we have Ridley or Slot? So the answer is yes, you go for him. So at the end of the day, how much are they willing to spend, or how much is T. Higgins ready to receive from the Titans? And same with Tyler Boyd. I think Tyler Boyd will be an easier pitch from a financial standpoint, because we did sign Calvin Ridley for an arm and a leg, right? And there are other positions that we need. Did say receiver, a prime receiver at that. That would be unbelievable. We had T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, and D-Hop. That would be unbelievable. The positive of that, again, is because D-Hop is he only has 1 year left.
Yep.
It would have to be probably some trade deal with D-Hop, but I want to keep D-Hop.
Yep.
So I think anything the pitch could call to Tyler Boyd to bring him in, maybe, of course, at a lower value, but he still could get a good amount of money. Cincinnati's going to try to hold on to them. We got to come up with the ducats in order, because they have franchised T. Higgins. So we can't come to T. Higgins with a Walmart bag. We got to come to T. Higgins with a Louis Vuitton bag. I don't know if we're willing to spend that. I'm not sure. So the answer is yes, but for how much?
Right.
Yep.
All right. So next, Anthem 1986 asks, any progress in upgrading the secondary? And I'm gonna add this comment to this, Justin Simmons. So I'm gonna add both of y'all. So, Hawk, what do you think the progress of the secondary getting upgraded? Do you think it's still happening, or what you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Give it a day or two. We're gonna get one of those safeties, man. We're gonna add, we have no choice but to pick up a safety for sure, and or another linebacker. So I think yes. I know they're speaking upon Baker from Miami. Of course, we've heard about Justin Simmons. The money's there, and when you look at Kayvon Wallace and you look at Terrell Edmonds, those are our two safeties. Those guys are plug and play safeties. They're not bad, but we need a premier safety in our defensive backfield, and they're out there. There's plenty of safeties out there. Safeties are really good out here. Absolutely, we're going to grab one of those guys. Absolutely. Just a matter of who. I would prefer Justin Simmons, who's a playmaking safety from Denver. Bring him in. Let's see what he does, man. Jacques, what about you, bro?
Yep, same. When we keep building up the secondary, I mean, Justin Simmons, you got a couple of more people that's still out there that you can look at. Corner wise, yes, we still need to be building up the secondary. Snead, man, will be a hell of a trade. If Fran can figure out, if he can somehow pull that off, man, dude's gonna be cold. But if you have that secondary, man, I trust him. We got to go from one of the worst to the best, man. We have to do that. So we have Anthem 19. Are y'all staying put at the tight end position? Do we need to bring in any more tight end help? What you think, Hawk?
I think so. Why not?
I agree.
Tight ends don't cost a lot, right? And you could we're not looking right now for a premier tight. We have Chig. I'm not saying he's a premier tight end, but he's a guy that you drafted. And, so you want to keep that encouragement in him and for him to be our best tight end. So, Josh Wiley, I'm not sure how much he'll, coming back from an injury, we'll see how he does. But, why not? Absolutely. Why not? It doesn't, you get a tight end for a 2-year deal, make like a 2-year, $10 million deal, $12 million maybe max. Why not? We need it because we only got 2 tight ends on the roster. So, Jacques?
Yeah, again, if you see one out there, they're getting scooped up pretty fast, go for it. But I also think this will be addressed in the draft too. I don't know if it's Brock Bowers. I don't know, right? So we'll see. Let me see. Cody Kamens comes in. Do you think it's better to draft an O-lineman or sign them? I say a little bit of both. Drafting and signing them for depth purposes and experience. But I say the ultimate piece is to go with drafting because you want to build and grow with that particular offensive lineman. Say we do go after Joe Alt. Joe Alt is what we're saying now from what we see, right? Because you got to get introduced to the NFL. But what we see from Joe Alt is he can be a generational talent. He can get in there and plug and play day one. He's only going to get better, right? And you got him for 4 years on a rookie deal. So as you continue to go, boom. I would bring in, of course, for depth purposes. If I draft 2 offensive linemen, I need 4 more, right? So that's my thought. What about you, Hawk?
I would prefer to draft any day, all day. Most teams that win in the NFL, it doesn't really come from free agency. It comes from drafts. So I would, for especially the fact that we're picking 7. Hey, you get a left tackle in the top 10, you draft him. You draft that guy. We signed Lloyd Cushenberry for a center, and we also, we also signed Sadiq Charles from the Commanders, and that's a 1-year deal. Charles is a backup guy. He's a guard. I don't think he'll start, but yeah, you draft guys if you have the opportunity. Now, if you draft in 29 and you can sign a premier tackle, then you sign that. Based on where we are today, you draft. In my opinion, you draft them. You draft that guy. You draft a Joe Alt, a 20-year-old left tackle, or a Fashimu from Penn State, a 21-year-old left tackle. The young guys, man, bring them in. Hey, let's get it, man.
Right. Raiders were asking for a trade. Would you trade back for Snead? If you get draft capital, you can trade back for them. I would. It depends on the draft capital. So if I trade with the Raiders and I can get that 3rd-round pick or another 4th, and I can trade for Snead that way, cool. Or if I can get 2 second-round picks, I can somehow trade that 2nd-round pick to Kansas City and then get Snead that way.
Yeah. Facts, no paper, John. That's exactly right. Great question, Lost Boy 615.
Yep. All right. This is a real good question from Memphis 87. What up from M-Town? M-Town in the building. Do you think Will Levis is the answer at quarterback? I'm a Titans and SEC fan. I'm a believer that if you couldn't make it in the SEC, how could you make it in the NFL? Levis struggled against tough competition in the SEC. Great question. Yeah. So the reason why I chose this question is because a lot of people that are not in SEC country hasn't seen Will Levis, right? I'm going to let you answer this question first, Hawk. So people that's in SEC's country, we see a different Will Levis. How do you feel about this question, Hawk? What do you think?
I'm going to say this. When you look at the NFL, when you look at even DraftKings, FanDuel, any type of betting services, people do not think that Will Levis is the answer. Some people have him as the worst rated starting quarterback going into next year, right? And yes, we've seen him at Kentucky, here in Nashville with Vanderbilt. We've seen him play here. We've seen that. And so I don't know. I can't say he's the answer. We don't know. We don't know. Is Tajay Spears the answer at running back? We don't know. We going into next year, you got a full slate. You're going to be the starting quarterback moving forward. Will you be the answer? It depends on how he plays. Just because maybe someone is not successful in college doesn't mean that's what's going to happen in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes had a losing record in college, right? And he played at Texas Tech, just like playing at Kentucky in the SEC. Hey, you're not going to win a lot of games playing at Kentucky. Every 4 or 5 years, they'll have a really good season. So sometimes the success in college doesn't mean that's what's going to translate in the NFL. Eli Manning didn't win any Super Bowls. Win any national championships at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is finally doing good now. When he was at Ole Miss, they struggled too, and he's got 2 Super Bowls. So I think, man, the mark of him will be the fact that we've signed these players. He's got talent around him. Will Levis, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to eat mayonnaise or are you going to throw touchdowns? I prefer you throw touchdowns, sir. That's how I feel about it. So the answer is we don't know until we see. You, Jacques?
It's the same, but I will say this. He's older than your average, like CJ Stroud and everything. And you kind of see, what quarterbacks are going to be that separate themselves and put themselves in the elite category, like a la CJ Stroud. We can have that debate all day. CJ Stroud is a miles ahead of Levis when it comes to winning, right? But with Will Levis, he's like a young old man that's kind of seasoned now, right? Now we eliminate the excuses. And what I mean by excuses, the offensive line is going to get better. You got weapons now, bro, right? You're going to be in a whole new offense. This whole new offense is going to be different. Can you maximize it? Or if we get down to year 2 or 3 and we're still mediocre or we still not going, boom. I'm going to tell you how I'm seeing this whole thing play out like a San Francisco, right? Jimmy G. We seen what Jimmy G was, right? Jimmy G got him enough where he needed to go. They got him to a Super Bowl. But Jimmy G, hey, man, we need more. 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 We need more, right? So what I think they're doing is they're putting enough talent around him to say, okay, Will, this is your show, bro. We need this by this date, or this. We need season 2 next year. Hey, bro, I can give you excuses this year, but once you get that scheme in order, I can't see the bad Will Levis. I need to see the progressive Will Levis each time. And again, we don't know. We don't know right now because he gets a clean slate. His plate is clean right now. Everybody's plate is clean because you're in a whole new scheme. So you're going to have some mistakes here and there. That's why I want to prepare people. He's going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to make mistakes because the scheme is so new. But as the season progresses, if it doesn't come through, then we got a problem, right? Then that's a scar. That's a scar on Ran Carthon. Be like, Ran, you drafted him. What we have. So I think he's trying to position the team enough just in case the quarterback position doesn't play out. We can just plug and play. Here you go. We'll just exchange. We'll get a vet and bring him in here. So that's my thoughts on it.
Gotcha, man.
All right. Let me see.
Thank you all for the questions, by the way, y'all. You guys are throwing some great questions. And we're trying to answer as many as we can.
Let me see here. Because he's young participant, because we've seen Washington Penix. Oh, there we hold on. Washington Penix would take us over the top. I like Penix, man, but we're not in the mark. Let me say this. It would surprise me. That'll be the shock of the draft. The Titans drafted a quarterback. That would confuse me. That would shock me. I mean, would that shock you if that happened?
Yeah, of course. That would shock the world. It ain't happening, but it would shock the world.
That would shut everything. I'm like, why did we just go get a quarterback? We already got one.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you this: with a new regime, remember, Brian Callahan didn't pick Will Levis. That's not his guy, right? So it's the same thing with Ran Carthon. A lot of these guys that we're getting rid of are not Ran Carthon guys. I got to bring in my own flavor. It's the same thing here. It's like, hey, we got Brian. I'm Brian. Yeah, I like Will Levis, but maybe I can do more with him over there, right? We'll keep him as a backup. Maybe I can do more with him over there, right? And people got to respect it. Not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm just saying, right? So,
yeah. Well, folks, listen. We want to say thank you all for tuning in to the show, y'all. We want to say thank you. We hope you have enjoyed it, man. Hey, shout out Bleacher Report and everything. The questions that's been on this show, man, has been great. I hope you all enjoyed, having an opportunity to get your questions answered. We got it through maybe 8 or 9 questions, so we appreciate that. If you want to check us out, we're here on Bleacher Report. You can follow me at Lorenzo_the_Hawk. You can follow Jacques at Jacques Merrill. We're on YouTube at Tennessee Titans Weekly. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're on Instagram, Tennessee Titans Weekly. We are in those internet streets, man.
Yep. And again, thank you. I want to thank Bleacher Report for giving us this opportunity. I want to thank y'all for participating in the show, man, and throwing those great questions out there because we like the participation. And again, man, let's continue to see what happens today. My fingers are crossed. I know we got Nick Kenan Westbrook, but I want to hear Justin Simmons. I want to hear Eric Armstead. I want to hear something like that from the defensive perspective. So, man, keep doing what you're doing, Rand. I'm proud of you, bro. I got you back to the full. I'm going to ride with you till the wheels fall off. There we go. So, man, take us out, Hawk.
Okay. All right. We hope you all have a great rest of your day and great rest of your week. We have more shows coming in the next few days. Check us out. And as we always say and as we always do, Jacques, facts.
No paper.